But I was such a big fan, you know. Bonnie, of course, playing Anne Romano. Once again, that's Anne Romano. She had these two daughters, Julie and Barbara Cooper, and I was so in love with Valerie Bertinelli. Oh man, I was just in love with her as a teenager, a young teen, you know. So I'm sorry, moms, but you might not like Bonnie Franklin, but I was a little clouded in my decision in that one. So those Alice fans, she just keep rest assured, she's an honorable mention, but Bonnie Franklin gets my number 3 mom of all time, TV moms of all time, from her character, once again, Anne Romano, on One Day at a Time. But like I said, I mean, I'm blinded and clouded because of Valerie. You know, I'm still, you know, watching on the commercials. Oh my goodness, she really has taken care of herself. But her daughter on the show, and Valerie Bertinelli, played one of her characters as her daughter on the show. So that's the reason Bonnie Franklin gets my number 3. Alice had a son, Tommy. You know, I wasn't interested in Tommy. The guy was a good actor, but I was more interested, in Valerie Bertinelli. I had her posters all on my wall. So, like I said, my vision is clouded a little bit, but she gets my number 3 mom of all time. She was fair. I would have to say Bonnie Franklin's character was fair with her daughters. She embraced them with love no matter what decisions they made. Some of, you know, one of the characters got married a little quicker than she wanted them to, but she's just like that fair mom that accepts, you know, may not always agree with the decision you made, but like my grandmother didn't agree with some of the decisions I was making coming into manhood. But you know what? She would always say, both of them would always say. And that was my 2 grandmothers. I lost my mother at 7, so my grandmothers were there going into, you know, into my adulthood, and would give me great advice. And when I went to the left of that advice, they would remind me, you should have done what I told you. But you know what, hardhead? I still love you. I still love you. So that's one thing I like about Bonnie Franklin's character on that show, One Day at a Time. My number 2 goes to, drum roll, you got it. Everybody Hates Chris. The mom, Tashina Arnold's character, Rochelle, that played the mother primarily to the prime character on that show, Chris, the one everybody hated. Now this sister was firm. Was nothing fair about her. She was firm. She blamed Chris for everything. All of us know, especially if you were the oldest child. I was the baby. My sister was the oldest. My sister got blamed for plenty of stuff that I did. And I sat there and wisely took it because my grandmother made you pick your own switch. Everybody had a parent that made you, a mother or grandmother that made you go out and pick your switch. You know me, I would find one that would break at some point, you know, at the beginning point, and she'd sit right there, make me go right back and get the switch she want. This time, she's like, I gave you a chance to pick, like an election. I gave you a chance to pick the candidate, the right candidate, but you screwed up. That's what she did. You screwed up by getting the wrong switch, so I'm going to pick it this time. Or rather, I'm going to step outside with you and tell you which one to strip off of that branch, that tree. You know, I'm going to make the choice this time. And Tashina Arnold's character played that. Rochelle played it to a T. Now, one of my favorite episodes, of course, is when her husband, Chris's dad, of course, won, I think, some kind of gift from his employer where they had a chance to eat at this nice restaurant, a 4 or 5 star restaurant, and they received a certificate to attend, and they had one extra table, one extra person that they could take at the table, and they got there and the man started acting a little funny. The host, started acting a little funny and put them at separate tables, and Chris invited a girl that he liked. So he was trying to impress the girl because the girl told him she liked hard people, people that were hardcore. So Chris decided, hey, I'm going to be hardcore. He's sitting up at the table, lighting matches and just dropping it in the water, putting his feet on the table. And the host of the restaurant came to the table he was at. And Chris started acting like Billy Bad Butt and then it went into slow-mo and started banging his hands on the man's shoulder. And then Rochelle, Tashina Arnold's character, gets up, looks over, and recognizes it's Chris. And she hollered his name, Chris! Chris! Then you kind of knew, all hell was getting ready to break loose. So she goes over to Chris, and it stops there. He says, she grabs him by the shoulder, and he says, what? Oh my goodness, all of us been in that moment where your mother or grandmother grabbed you, and you may have been fighting, and all of a sudden you turn back and, shrub her off or shrub away from her. Then when you look back and realize who it was, you were like, oh no. I done did it. I was raised up in the country. I was born in New York, but raised in the country. You'd be like, oh, what in the world did I just do? What did I do? Crazy me, what did I do? He had that look on his face that he knew he was through. And then it comes back, showing him in the emergency room, one of the rooms in the emergency room. And the x-ray showed where, he was laying on his stomach and you could see the shoe. Her high heel shoe, the x-ray showing that it was in his rear end. I think that was one of the funniest moments I ever seen on TV. But, it just reminds me a lot of that firm parent, no fairness about it, but that firm parent. We might have not thought they were fair at the time, but when we got older, we realized that tough love is what made us overcome a lot of the obstacles that we faced. Sometimes we didn't see it then. We might have said mama or grandma were just too hard on me. But when a situation arises in life, when we get into adulthood, and a lot of times not just in adulthood, maybe you may be in your early teens and you realize that, hey, grandma did tell me. There would be times and situations like this and what to do and how to handle it. So, hey, once again, congratulations to Tashina Arnold for being, in my eyes, the number 2 mom of all times. When I come back from this message, we will have number 1. I don't think a lot of you will be surprised, and some of you will be surprised. Who, my number 1, who Babe, Tom Herman's number 1 mom of all times is, after this message from our sponsor. So please continue to sit back and enjoy your early morning coffee with Babe Tom Herman. If you're looking for affordable health and insurance coverage, well then give Jonica Rowland of the Rowland Group a call. She's here to serve families, individuals, and small businesses. Contact her at 919-719-7211 or at 919-539-2492. Once again, contact Jonica Rowland of the Rowland Group. And once again, that's Jonica Rowland of the Rowland Group. So please feel free to give Jonica a call. And I'd like to thank my 2 sponsors, Ian Natural Skincare Studio, along with the Rowland Group, for being a sponsor of the Babe Tom Herman Show. Before the break, I went over with those who are just tuning in and went over the top 5 mothers of all times. Went over the first 4 on the list. Once again, Florida Evans, number 5. Carolyn Ingalls of Little House on the Prairie, number 4. Let me go back to Florida Evans, of course. If you don't know that character from Good Times, you just didn't watch TV too much in the 70s, so I understand. Number 3, of course, was a toss-up between Bonnie Franklin, her role of Anne Romano, and also it was a kind of a toss-up between her and Linda Lavin of Alice. Alice, of course, going to the honorable mentions list. She goes to the honorable mentions list. She made that list, but I had to go with 4 reasons that I will keep to myself. I let my listeners know the main reason. That's between us. That's between us. those are just tuning in, that's our secret. So I won't reveal why I chose One Day at a Time. Once again, Bonnie Franklin's character, Anne Romano, gets that number 3 slot. Number 2, Tashina Arnold's character of Rochelle on Everybody Hates Chris gets that number 2 spot for the number 2 all-time mom on my list of all times. And number 1, like I said, it might surprise some, might not surprise any. But drum roll, please. The number 1 TV mom of all times, according to Babethomherman, is Claire Huxtable. I mean, you know she was going to be there somewhere. You know that she was going to definitely be there somewhere in that list. We all know Claire Huxtable, played by Felicia Rashad, made us all accepting of the fact that, hey, we can be more than what I would call, when I was coming up in my town in North Carolina, the biggest majority of people worked in a plant, a mill. And not any knock to those who've done it. I've done it as well coming up. A lot of us didn't envision being anything higher than that. And certainly didn't envision back in the 80s of having an African American president, and current president Barack Obama. So shows like that, in my eyes, prepared me for the now, for the future. It really prepared a lot of people, not just myself, not only African Americans. It prepared all races, people, that, hey, African Americans are going to advance one day where there is going to be an African American president. And certainly we have that in President Barack Obama. Now, The Cosby Show is still one of my favorite shows of all times. I still constantly watch it. It comes on several different channels, especially on cable. So I still enjoy a moment watching all of these shows, whether it's Good Times, whether it's Little House on the Prairie, Alice, of course, also One Day at a Time. Everybody Hates Chris is still one of my favorites. And of course, The Cosby Show, one of my all-time favorites. And Claire Huxtable, Felicia Rashad. Congratulations for being named Babethomherman's number 1 TV mom of all times. I, for one, thoroughly enjoyed Felicia Rashad's role as Claire Huxtable. Just this strong female or African American figure on TV, a strong parent. And keep in mind, I do realize this was just television, but I consider her a firm but fair parent on the show, with strong values, and to be an understanding mother to her children on the show. Well, my time is up, and certainly I want to wish each and every mother a happy Mother's Day on tomorrow. May you enjoy your day. Don't cook unless you're going to cook Babethomherman a pie. Now, you can send me your address or where we can pick it up. We can meet Food Line anywhere. If you want to make Babethomherman a hot apple pie, a hot cherry pie, blueberry pie, just send me an email and tell me where to meet you at on Sunday, especially apple pie with a little bit of cinnamon mixed in it. Just a thought. But don't you cook. I'm repeating, don't you cook. You sit back and let your family take you out or have a little cookout and let them cook. You just sit back and enjoy your day and your moment, your special day, unless you just get that urge to cook or bake some hot apple pies, cherry pies, or blueberry pie. One of the 3 or all 3 is fine. With me, a slice of each 3 would be even better. And once again, for you all listening that have lost a grandparent, a mother, and they're not here presently with you, but here in heart, like myself, I don't have a mother and either one of my grandmothers here this present day, but my heart is full of so many